that the Bank of Ghana has transmitted this report to the Finance Ministry after the board approval. And that will go through the process of it getting to Parliament as well, and then the publication on its website. But so far, here's what we do know about the reasons or the causes for the said losses that the Bank of Ghana incurred on its books for the year 2025, the 15.6 billion. It was as a result of the open market operations that the Bank of Ghana engaged in. This we're talking about the interventions in the market, mopping up excess liquidity so as to be able to control inflation, over the period. That's within the year 2025. And then this gold purchase program, if you recall, this was a big matter when some $240 million was quoted in an IMF report. And eventually that was also contested. It was back and forth as to exactly how much was lost as a result of the Bank of Ghana engaging in this particular program, and then the foreign exchange losses as well. Those are the three major issues that may have counted for this particular loss. We're going to put that on the screen right now, the 19.6 billion that we're talking about. But then the Bank of Ghana says, okay, because of what the mandate is when it comes to its own operations over the period and exactly what has to be looked at going forward, if we're looking at the losses that the bank incurred as against the mandate of the bank in ensuring price stability on the market and what we have seen, is there a justification for this particular loss? And this is a question that we're going to put to financial analyst Joe Jackson, who's going to be joining us in a bit. The Bank of Ghana says that after this period of what they inherited after 2024, these were the measures implemented, the tight monetary policy stance, addressing excess liquidity. And this is where the open market operations, which contributed to the loss of 15.6 billion we're talking about now. In fact, some experts have also raised concerns about that amount, contributed to it in mopping up excess liquidity. Now, this is what the end of year 2025 looked like when it comes to the fiscals and the picture of the state of the economy. 5.4% inflation rate, down from the 23.8% as of the same period last year. 13.8 billion gross international reserves as of the end of 2025, December, up from the 9.1 billion. Then the current account balance of about 9.4 billion, up from the 1.5 billion. And then also the 1% of GDP being the fiscal deficit as we speak, as of the end of year 2025. All of this paints a certain picture which has been acknowledged across board when it comes to the positive indicators that the macroeconomic indicators have chalked and are looking over the period. But then also there's reference to how much we had to pay for all of these good indicators. But clearly to every economic decision, there's a cost to it. What we're looking at is the cost-benefit analysis. And here's why I bring in Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And I want to, first of all, reference this, which you are aware of. And this is one that, all things being equal, you'll find also reflected in some of the things that the Bank of Ghana will put across, because we've been following quite closely the trajectory in the year 2025. What do you say that based on these indicators trending towards the right direction positively, there's a clear justification for this loss that has been posted on their books?
It's a tough one to say, because first of all, we've got to look into detail at how was the cost incurred. But at the same time, we've also got to look at the fact that this economy has stabilized, and every single macroeconomic indicator is trending in the right direction. And so you ask yourself, at what cost does stability come? Because first of all, without stability, we can't grow. And where we are now is that the economy is stable, but we've got to push off and grow. So it's a tough one, but I would say that on the balance, what we have to do is to examine that 15 billion with a magnifying glass. Unfortunately, the report just came out today, so we're looking at the headline numbers. 15 billion is a lot, but it's not a lot to pay for the stability that we have now. If the stability is resilient and can help us absorb the shocks that are ahead of us, the external shocks that are ahead of us. 15 billion is high, but the economy of Ghana needs help.
Honorable Ataisa is Member of Parliament for the Sagnerugo constituency. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament. He addressed the press earlier today. Take a look.
16.7 billion cost was incurred in 2025 through the Bank of Ghana open market operation, interest paid to absorb excess liquidity in the market. This led to inflation falling from 54.1% in 2022 to 3.2% in March this year. Lending rate has also fallen from about 35.6% in 2022 to 19.2% as at the end of 2025. Government cost collapse in terms of the 91 Treasury bill rate, moving from about 35.2% in 2022 to 9% as at February 2026. All this happening in a global environment of war, of trade tariffs reshaping the international ecosystem, of capital flight from emerging markets and other economies in our region. Ghana is still resilient and not affected by that. In 2025, we moved the purchases from 54.7 tons to 111 tons. So it generated cumulatively 11 billion United States dollars, and we only spent 9 billion Ghana cedis achieving that.